Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union, and by Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm Insurance.
By Dive Shop and Dive Ventures nationwide. Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully. Napa Cafe Memphis and Glenda Hastings. Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. For Memphis Magazine. The Live at the Garden Concert Series. And the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis. And by Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, family owned and operated for more than 40 years. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome to Lansky's Clothier to the King, and moi. And also, one of my guests today, we've got a power couple here, which is not your typical power couple because you don't tell anybody what to do. You tell people about what the world is all about. Kim and Willy Bearden, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Earl. Thanks for having us, man. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Well, we've done this many times. I've interviewed Kim at Elmwood before, and I love Elmwood, and you've got a new book out. We're going to talk about that, Mississippi Hippie, which was coined a term. Your wife put that on you.
Yes, she did. She got the name. Yeah, she's the power behind the throne, right?
Well, we all know who the power in each of our families is.
That's right.
And it ain't us.
That's right.
But Life in 49 Pieces by Willy Bearden, and he's got. I love the peace sign down there under Mississippi, and I love the map too. I've always loved maps, and
me too. Yes.
It's. But what a wonderful place to grow up. Kim, are you also from Mississippi?
I am. I was born in the Baptist Hospital on Union Avenue that was torn down, but I grew up primarily in South Haven. But I like to call myself a Metro Memphian.
Metro, yeah.
Because I'm from the whole area. I when I go out of town, I tell people I'm from Memphis. It's just easier.
Yeah.
Well, I live in Collierville, but when people say, "Where do you live?" I don't go, "Well, it's a community outside."
Right.
Yeah, right.
Just
we
to the
claim
east.
Memphis.
Yeah.
That's
Too
right.
much explanation when you try to do that.
And they don't
it's
care
just
anyway.
Memphis.
No.
Yeah.
But the Delta, what a great, interesting place to grow up. And you look at all the incredible writers and talent that have come out of Mississippi. I asked Morgan Freeman one time because he moved back to Clarksdale. Yeah. And I asked him, Kathy and I got to have dinner with him at Medidi, which was his restaurant there.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I said, so what made you come back? You could live anywhere in the world. What made you come back to Mississippi? And he said, because I could live anywhere in the world. And he said, I love Mississippi. He said, it's a very misunderstood state.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
He said, all my Hollywood friends, he go, why did you go back to a slave state? And he goes, they were all slave states. So where are you going to go except for California? But he said, there are no slaves there now. And he said, the people are really good people. And I said, how did you get to where you could just walk about the community and people didn't treat you like a movie star? He said, when I came back, I went to every place I was going to go, the hardware store, the laundry, the grocery store. Yeah. I said, my name is Morgan Freeman. So he just said it like Morgan Freeman. My name is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want to be the zoo. This is where I'm going to live when I'm not someplace else in the world making a movie. And I want to be treated just like everybody else. So you say, hey, Morgan, how are you? And I'll say, I'm good. How are you, Bob? Mm-hmm. And he said, that's the way it's been ever since, which is brilliant.
That's great. Well, I have to add here, we just went to New York about a month ago. Morgan Freeman they're touring the Morgan Freeman's blues symphonic experience around the country.
Wow.
And so we went to New York and went to Central Park. They have a symphony orchestra playing behind an 8-person blues band from Clarksdale. And I was on the writing team that wrote his narration.
Wow, that is incredible.
So I tell you, when we were there, the video came up. They have video, and he tells the story of the Delta. the video came on, and I'm telling you, I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, I didn't even feel it coming, but tears just came down my face. I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But it has been such an honor to be just a part of him telling the story of the Delta and the blues all around the country. And they've been to Tampa.
It's international now.
Yeah,
They
San
have
Francisco.
dates in Canada, all over the United States. It just played in Nashville, last weekend?
Last weekend, I went to Nashville and went with some friends there.
The incredible thing about him is just he told me he had almost was about ready to get his hack license in New York and start driving a cab. I think he was doing something on Sesame Street, a postman or something. And he was 50-something years old. And he said, I was never going to make it. So they cost $1 million back then to get a shield, I think is what they call it. Is that what it is, Beth? Or shield? And he said then he got the call, I think, for driving Miss Daisy. And, of course, that was the first one. And then he just won great film after Shawshank Redemption, I think. It's everybody's one of his favorite movies. And I asked him about how that happened because he was doing the dailies. And they have somebody voiceovers explain the setup to the scene. And they were listening to it. About the third day, they get, this needs to be part of the movie. And it was brilliant because his voice is just so distinctive and just set the whole tone for that movie.
He's got it. Yeah, he's got it.
But that's indicative of the people of Mississippi, though. I mean, nobody is pretentious. And if you are pretentious in Mississippi, they let you know, don't be presumptuous.
That's true. That is true.
Very quickly.
Yes. Both of your careers have been you've been so involved in so many different things. And reading your book, Mississippi Hippie, at the very beginning, you're talking about, after you say thanks to all the people that meant something to you and really helped you. And I know a lot of those people, and so does everybody else in Memphis. But you've been so involved with so many different projects over the years. You really have done so many things. You're a producer, you're a film editor, a filmmaker, an author, and just a very creative person. One of the first things I ever saw that you did was at Goat Island. Is that the name of it?
Horn Island.
Horn Island.
Yeah.
Well, there's horns on a goat, so there.
That's right. That's what you.
That's how my mind works. Which I thought was one of the most creative things about a bunch of artists going down and camping out for a week, and just the way you shot that. I was very impressed with that, and I've admired you ever since. And then
Thank you.
I got to know Kim by just going to Elmwood Cemetery. And then reading the first part of your book, you talked about keeping a list of dead people, and your brother was really worried about maybe you're a weird kid.
I was getting weird, yeah.
And then you end up, and I was telling my brother-in-law before we left the house, and I said, and then his wife, it's been 25 years at Elmwood Cemetery, and he goes,
that's right.
Do you think there's a connection?
Yeah.
Could be.
I think there has to be a connection, right?
And I got to say, Earle's the first person who's picked up on that, so actually that's pretty good, Earle.
Well,
that's pretty good.
I've been a reporter for a long time. And I said,
that's pretty good.
He's going to dig deeper.
I go, hey, wait a minute.
Wait. I didn't even mean for that to be a pun.
There are cemetery puns galore. They're just waiting. They're just waiting out there.
I know.
Yep.
Well, and what do you always tell people?
I'll be the last one to let you down.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
You're welcome.
That's right.
They're just dying to get into this.
They are
place.
dying to get in. It's true, Earle.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Everybody.
I said,
we could go on.
Don't,
we could go on. Come on.
But I have Kathy's aunt works for a funeral home, and funeral home people and cemetery people all have a great sense of humor. They really do.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you on behalf of the profession. We appreciate that. You have to. I think you have to.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, what you've done, I think, is really capture so many incredible things about Elmwood. And one of the first things I learned in just going there to do stories is that cemeteries were meant to be a place of celebration and honor. And that after church on Sundays, families would go to cemeteries and have a picnic. It was a park. Yeah. But that's where your relatives were. You go visit your relatives and you have a picnic. The kids play. And it wasn't a thing of fear or a depressive thing at all. But I think people in the South go to cemeteries more than they do up north.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. It is definitely part of our DNA and our tradition to visit cemeteries. And, I grew up going to cemeteries. You may have, too. My grandparents used to carry us over to Memorial Park and Forest Hill Midtown, go see our people and, talk about who they were, take flowers, throw away the old flowers. It was definitely something we did, I'm going to say on average every month to 6 weeks. I mean, it was pretty regular. And it was, when I became the director of the cemetery, it was kind of important to me to invite people back in because we were in a time period where people were beginning to float away again. They were not visiting the cemetery as much. And so we started that process with youth education tours because I knew that if we could get kids in there, their parents are going to come as chaperones. Yep. We're going to teach them a little bit of history and hopefully show them something about their city that they've never been shown before. And so many of them had never even been to cemeteries before. Their parents just didn't take them to funerals. They would go without them because they thought the kids couldn't handle it. And what we have seen over time is that it just resonates with children so much. I can't tell you. This is how long I've worked at Elmwood, okay? I've worked at Elmwood long enough now that I'm beginning to meet kids out in the world who are adults who say, oh, yeah, I came for a tour there. I think you gave it to me. And then I just go, oh, God, I can't believe I'm that old. But it is very fulfilling to me personally, and it's good for the cemetery to have people invested in what a rich jewel it is, tucked away in the middle of the city. Our city's history is found there.
And it's exactly the way it was 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's the amazing thing. So many other things change. You go to Elmwood, and it's pretty much, other than the chapel being built there by about 15 years ago, I guess, by a famous downtown architect.
Jack Tucker. That's right.
And it is, but it is a living place too, and I think that's what you've really done very well to hold on to. All these people go out and give the tours. You have people dress up as characters and give the tour and talk about their life, and it really brings it all alive, and it makes it very, very interesting. And it is our history. That's our history in a capsule right there at Elmwood.
And I like to call it a patchwork quilt of Memphis. There's some piece of history that's reflected there from every major moment in the city's history, beginning in 1852. It's over 170 years old, so we predate the Civil War. So, we have people buried there who fought in the Mexican War, the War of 1812. We have an American Revolutionary War veteran buried there. Really deep history is found at Elmwood, and, progressing through the modern era, because we're still an active cemetery, meaning for those of you who don't know, that means that we're still performing burials on average, 3 to 5 a week, just depending. And, people who are being buried there now, it is important to them to be at the cemetery because of how we celebrate the history that's found in the cemetery. And I hear it over and over again. I love what you do there. I love that you all, you keep people coming here. And, I think if I was buried here, I wouldn't feel alone. I would feel like I was still connected all kinds of, musicians and politicians and people who made Memphis industry and just revolutionaries, all kinds of cool characters.
And now people are getting married there in the chapel.
Oh, gosh,
we
yes.
went
We have
a couple of weddings there.
Yeah.
In fact, Beth's great-grandmother is great-great-grandmother is buried there.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you been by to see her lately?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
I love going.
She's still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
She keeps checking. How did you get the job? I mean, did you have a background in dead people? Or?
I get asked this question pretty regularly because I don't present as somebody who would work at a cemetery. So sometimes I mess with people and they'll say, what do you do for a living? I'll be like, guess. Yeah. Just guess. I'm going to give you a few guesses. And I get real estate agent. I get teacher. Sometimes I get some other quirky.
Movie star?
Yeah, a movie star, obviously. Obviously.
I like that.
But, and then I tell them what I do and they go, what in the world? Okay, I know. It is very strange. But I was working at another nonprofit organization in Memphis when I was at the University of Memphis. I was working at the Memphis Botanic Garden, and I was working at the front desk, just finishing my last semester. And I knew that I wanted to go into the nonprofit world. I didn't know what that meant. And so I was prepared to kind of float around and do some internships. But then a lady who worked at the garden hooked me up with the person who was in charge of Elmwood. Now, I had never been to Elmwood before, grew up here my whole life, never been to Elmwood before. She said, there's this job available at this historic site in Memphis. And this is
she didn't tell you what it was.
No, sir. It's this really interesting place, and it's kind of like a museum, and they're really building up the history there because they want to just like share it with Memphis and everything. And I really think you should talk to her because it's a good opportunity here for you, and I think that you're right for it. And I was like, okay, it's just, what is it? And she's like, well, it's called Elmwood. And I was like, okay, but what is it? She was like, well, you just need to call this lady. And I was like, okay, fine. So I called her, and they answered the phone. Elmwood Cemetery may help you. And I was like, what?
I think I got the wrong number.
Pardon? So anyway, no, I connected with the person. Her name's Fran Kapmer, and she was my boss for many years. And we hit it off, and she gave me a lot of opportunities to sort of, push the organization along under her tutelage. So one thing led to another. I really wasn't going to stay that long, but when they began to show me the old record books is when I fell in love with it, because it's that old handwriting in those old books
that you could read.
Yes, you could read that beautiful old script.
Yeah.
And the records just, I felt, as soon as they cracked the first book open, I felt like I was deeply connected to this place in a way that I never had been my whole life. And I grew up here.
Yeah.
So I kind of stayed, and then I kept staying. And then now, almost 27 years later, I'm still there. I've been the director since 2005. I tell people all the time, I have the best job in Memphis. I love my job. I get to help people. I get to talk to people. I'm encouraged by my board of trustees to learn things, travel to other cemeteries and museums to grow my knowledge so that I can put it in better context.
But it really is how you're presented to Elmwood. That's how your first boss that hired you, she made it fun the minute you met her and said, this is what I love about it. Yeah. That exudes from you to your little kids that come there, adults, and so that's what perpetuates it, and it kind of seals their attitude and their viewpoint of what a cemetery really is, and you don't get that anywhere else.
That's true. Yeah. That's very true. I think I love that we're unique in Memphis, and there are other cemeteries that are just now in town, that are just now beginning to say to themselves, I would really like to do some of the programming, or I would really like to start a renovation of this part of the cemetery, preservation work. And they ask us how to do it. And, that's a big answer, because it, started 40 years ago. So it's a slow turning wheel, but it is worth the effort and it is worth the time. And I love working with other people on issues like that. So, but thank you for the compliment. I do want to pass along my enthusiasm for history and Memphis through the lens of Elmwood.
Well, just like where we are today at the incredible Peabody Hotel inside Lansky's, that's all about history. And when I came to Hal and said I wanted to move my show and do a podcast here, and he said, no politics. I said, no, I just want to do things that are positive about Memphis, because there's so many, but they don't get talked about.
That's right.
That's what Willie has been doing for his whole career, which you do for everybody that comes out to Elmwood. In fact, you've got an event coming up October 17th, 18th. The tickets are on sale now. Secrets, Elmwood Cemetery, Soul of the City. But this is just, you got Halloween is super out there. You have people giving tours. You even have movies. You show scary movies, Halloween in a cemetery. I mean, who's got the guts to go there?
The Soul of the City tour is a big deal. I mean, it's a 2-day event where people can choose the day and the time that they want to come to the cemetery and meet the people who are buried at Elmwood. So our residents, that we call them, they come back for a couple of nights and they greet the public and, tell their stories from their perspective. And gosh, what's the word? It's just an incredible event. I am lucky enough to be able to be the script writer, one of the script writers for the event, and getting into the head of the people who are buried there and learning their history and putting them into the correct context the best you can, making it entertaining and doing it in 5 minutes or less. That is very challenging. I look forward to it, though.
And the thing about it's live performances, so they're different every single time.
That's right. We do different characters every year.
And you have
this year, we got a lady named Emma Atkinson, and she, a couple of her, the men in her life died from gastritis after she served them cookies laced with arsenic.
Oh, gets you every time.
Yeah.
That's right.
So she's on our tour this year. We're going to hear her story. That's just one of my characters.
So is that the first gastro pub? Is that what?
There you go, Earl.
Good, Earl.
He's not going to let me down. He's not going to let me
Nope,
down.
he's not.
That's right.
We were out there doing the morning show one time. This is when I was at Channel 5 20-something years ago. And there were some Civil War reenactors that were there, and they were all dressed up in their Union and Confederate uniforms. And all of a sudden, we see these lights and sirens, and the police have chased some car thief into the
I
cemetery.
know exactly when you came. I know what year you're talking about. I was not there then, but
Well,
it was
5 o'clock in the morning.
It was early in the
Yeah.
morning, and there was a car chase. And some of the people who were reenactors, from what I gather, now you correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the reenactors were also on the
Law
police
enforcement,
department.
yeah.
They were law enforcement.
really?
Well, we all had our guns there.
Right. And they all these people in costume pull their guns out on this person who's driving in the cemetery like 80 miles an hour or something crazy.
Yeah, they were squealing tires and sirens, and these generals had their swords, but they didn't even reach for the sword. They said, "Nah, I got something better."
Yeah.
But so
that's
things
so
are,
funny.
you never know what's going to be going on there. But just driving through there and stopping and looking at the history there and I've always been fascinated by the children's graves.
Yeah.
Because they all have these little frames around them, and it is you just realize how many young children did not make it to adulthood back in the day, and especially during the yellow fever epidemics, 2 of them, and in fact it nearly wiped Memphis out.
Truly.
We were actually larger than Atlanta or St. Louis before the yellow fever epidemics, and after that it took us forever we lost our charter. We weren't even incorporated anymore. We were just Memphis.
That's right.
Yep, that's
Whatever's
right.
left of it. But you've got all these events coming up, but that's what keeps it alive. That's what keeps people going there, and because you're not on the way to anywhere.
That's right. We're at the end of a dead-end street, and I'm sorry to say it, but that's the truth.
But you know, the best restaurant in Memphis used to be located at the entrance there,
Yes.
that side entrance. You drive to Justine's was there.
That's right. It was on Coward, the old Coward place.
Yeah,
Yep.
and one of my favorite restaurants. I'm just glad I got here early enough to be able to have gone there, because it really was stepping back in time to go eat at Justine's.
I never got to eat there. I was too young, so I missed it. Regretfully, because I've heard so many great stories about the food and the ambiance and Justine.
Yeah.
I've heard it was wonderful.
She was incredible. She used to live on the White Station.
Oh, yeah?
They have all these 0-lot lines they built there on her property, but she had a huge garden. And the word was that, of course, this is like cemetery stories, that she used to garden in the nude. And all the vegetables went to the restaurant, and so everybody, was this a naked pic or?
That's funny.
All these things about Memphis that are really very unique, and that is what
Yeah.
Willie has made a lifelong career out of. Is really just telling the stories of Memphians and Mississippians and Tennesseans, because it really is so interesting. You think about some places you could have grown up and they got no stories.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I always tell people that Memphis is one of the handful of authentic places on this globe.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's not the biggest, but when you start looking at the people who came from here and how those people really influenced culture, American culture, worldwide culture, there's nobody who comes close.
Well, just look at all the authors that went to University of Mississippi, Faulkner. I mean, you go down there and just look at all the people that moved there just to absorb that esprit that is there. Yeah. But it is, and I've talked to many people that are in the storytelling business.
Right.
And Southerners excel at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's just because we all grew up around that supper table telling stories.
Yeah.
And everybody got their turn at the, okay, what did you do today, Willie?
Sure, yeah.
And they go, I can't tell you. I can tell you.
Well, that is the thing. I mean, my mother was a beautician. And so when I was a little kid, I hung out in the beauty shop. And if you want to hear what's going on in a small town,
my wife tells me all the time,
right.
You go to the beauty shop.
Go to the beauty shop, you're going to hear everything.
Yeah.
And then later I hung out in the pool hall, and that's where you hear the other things that are bad.
Well, yeah, I didn't really hang out in the pool hall that much because there were never any girls in there. So
okay.
I'd show up and go, right. What are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
Because I was interested in telling them stories.
That's right.
They just weren't there.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back. I want to talk about your book, about all the other projects you've been involved with, and what's in the future. So we're going to check in with our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union. We're the proud title sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show. Coming to you live from Lansky's in the world-famous Peabody Hotel and celebrating all of the great things about our great city, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm so proud to be part of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, streaming live from Lansky's from the Peabody. We will be showcasing not only Napa Cafe, but some great restaurants around town. We look forward to seeing you.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today, and we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25, and I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching, Earl, and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm, and I'm so excited to be one of the sponsors for the Earle Farrell from Memphis show, broadcasting live from Lansky's at the Peabody. And I'll tell you all about what we've got going on at our office. Gift cards for quotes. No purchase necessary. I'm better looking than a lizard.
Hi, this is Randy Wright from the Dive Shop and Dive Ventures in Memphis. We've been in Memphis over 64 years teaching people to dive, snorkel, and swim. We'd love to have you come join us and have some fun. We're also a part of the Dive Ventures group with 18 locations across the country, stretched from Phoenix to Vienna, Virginia. Please give us a call. We'll be able to take care of you at 999 South Yates in Memphis, or call us at 901-763-DIVE.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright. And I'm his son, Mickey. And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell from Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
Hey, my name is Jake. I'm with Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of what I do here at Phoenix. I'm a sales engineer. A lot of the times we talk about home theaters, but there's so much more that we offer. We offer a lot of home security solutions, as well as water detection and everything. So if you guys ever need anything, give us a call. We'll get you guys fixed up.
And welcome back to Lansky's and my two guests, Kim and Willy Bearden. And I want to show a picture of Kim. This was taken in Texas. I recognize the brisket there.
That's right.
And I said, in the promo I put up today, it said that they do so much together. And I know I read somewhere when y'all travel, and we all in this part of the country you'll pass some little out of the way small little grocery store that we mostly drive by. You stop at every one of them.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
We do. We like to ride and look.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. We're just riding and looking all the time, and talking. We have the strangest conversations, but interesting conversations.
And you
right?
never know what you're going to learn when you follow the things that are interesting to you. I think that that's what is so great about us as a couple, is that we have the same interest in our world.
Yeah.
We want to know things.
You're curious.
We really are curious, and we also give each other permission to stop.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. I tell you, just anytime we're driving and I go, oh, I wish I'd taken a picture of that.
Turn around, go back.
Yeah.
We just go around, go back. Take that picture.
Did we take this picture of her eating the barbecue, Rob? I was looking at them, so I didn't know if I actually showed it. Show it again. I'm going to point out.
Thank you so much for showing a picture of me eating on the show. I appreciate. All women dream of this moment. Right. All women dream of this.
But we were in Dallas. Over July 4th, and
we went to go to the Bush Presidential Library. We went to their Holocaust Museum, the book
sixth
depository,
floor,
where they have a cemetery out there. We went to which cemetery did we go? We go to all the cemeteries in every Oak Cliff. That's right.
It's one of the oldest cemeteries there in Dallas.
It's amazing.
Right,
I really wish that there was an effort to take care of it, but somebody will get there eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Gosh, where else did we?
Well, we went to that barbecue place.
We went to the barbecue place.
And there were literally
picture up there.
100 people in line, Earl, and we're like. We'll never get through here.
They do.
We were in
fast.
line maybe 8 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know why Memphis does not serve barbecue the way they do in Texas. It's a cafeteria style.
It's smart.
You come in the door and you get a drink out of an iced down big chest of beer, Cokes, whatever you want. So you're drinking that already.
Yeah.
And then you're in line. And so then you pick out, and I want sliced brisket, I want some link sausage, I want potato salad, beans. And then you take your tray. And they got this table with pickles and onions and all this other stuff, and you pile that on there as well.
Yeah.
But you're in and out there in like 20 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah. And they're steadily just come on. And it's so good. I love Texas barbecue. I
Well,
just got from Memphis, love Texas barbecue.
It is, when I came here, I'd never really had that much pig, like Boston butts or shoulder.
Right.
I had ribs. They do baby back ribs in Texas, and they do beef ribs in Texas. Yeah. I've always loved Memphis barbecue. I love their sauce.
Yeah.
But I do. There's a place called Baines that opened up here over at Cooper Young.
I know Baines.
And that brisket is probably the best I've had in Memphis.
That's very good.
The other mistake most people make is they cook their brisket and then they slice it before they serve it. You slice to order in Texas. That way it keeps the juices in.
Right, yeah.
And so what they do is they slice it up, then they put it in the reach-in overnight, and it dries out. And they take it out and they heat it up, which dries it out even more.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 days of that, and it's an old boot, is what it is.
That's right, yes.
But enough about Texas. I've got a picture here. This is Willie. I guess what are you, in your 20s there, 30s?
I think I was 28 there, and I was working at Motion Picture Lab, which was down on South Main Street. I worked there for 9 years, and I started off, I ran a film processing machine for a few months, and then they put me in film setup. Then I did color correction on films.
Wow.
Then I was a film editor. And then they put me on the road. If you can imagine, I was an account exec for 7 years.
So you called on photographers and
filmmakers, ad agencies, universities. I traveled. I had the Midwest, so I was always in Des Moines or Milwaukee. I was Pittsburgh, Detroit.
And you were 28 and single?
I was no.
He wishes.
That's right.
He was married.
I was married at the time because I went on the road,
but not for long.
In '81. Well, you've got a point. You've got a very good point.
I love this.
Not for long, being on the road. But yeah, so I did that for like 7 years, and that's how I started my company. I would go, because you get to know people.
Yeah.
You see people 4 or 5 times a year, and they would always, hey, Willie, we're shooting at blah, blah, blah. Come go on location with us. And after about a year of that, I would watch people, and I would go, I don't think I'd put the camera there. Or I would think, director's not getting a good performance out of that person. And one day I was standing there, I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was standing there and I thought, you know what, I could do this. And it was the first time I'd ever thought of that. And so probably not 2 years after that, I started my own company and started doing it myself. And quickly saw that I also needed to become a better writer and a better editor. All of these things. So it really taught me a lot. But I've been doing that since '87.
Well, in fact, I looked at it today. We're exactly the same age. So I know you were 28 in 1978.
Right, yes.
And that was the year I moved here to Memphis from Dallas. Yeah. And in fact, I was working with Beth at Channel 3. And so we covered a lot of news together. And that's kind of where because I started out as a photographer. And I thought, and I love photography, but I said, I could do this reporting thing.
Yeah.
It's just asking curious questions.
That's right.
And you follow just the natural progression of the conversation. And I think people, they trust you because you're really giving them, or they're giving you permission to tell their story.
Yeah.
And that a lot of when I first got in the business, people didn't want to come on television at all.
Right.
And they said, no, I got nothing to say, and there's no story here. And I said, what I've learned is everybody has a story.
That's right.
Everybody does.
That's right.
And it's up to people like you and me to get the story from them and say why this is an important story.
Sure.
And I think that's what's been so interesting about what you've done is it's really just in your book, what you're getting ready to talk about. It is all the accumulated stories of your life, but usually you've always been telling everybody else's story.
Right.
In fact, how did that come? People started to say you should really, because you were doing fiction, and they said you should really write nonfiction about your own life.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, I talked about some of these things, and Kim and I talked about my life, and there's. As life is, there's ups and downs and good and bad and terrible and joyous and all of those things. But that's all authentic and it's all the truth, because anybody who tells you they're happy all the time or anything, they're either lying or they're stupid.
In
right?
denial.
Yeah, right. So I just wanted to write something that was authentic, and I gave myself permission to do that.
That would have been the hard part, would be, if I were to ever do it, is how do you decide? Did you talk to Kim about that? Should I put this story in?
Yeah.
Kathy would be the first to say, I think we leave that one out. And that one, and that one, and
that's
that
right.
one.
And now, folks, Earle's book is 6 pages long.
With really big type.
Right,
really
with big type. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I was born.
And then I met my wife, and I've been happy ever since.
Nothing bad has ever happened.
Nothing bad has ever happened.
But it does, when you go through the process of reviewing your life and you start looking, and I loved looking at the index and just the chapters, and they're really, that's what your life is. It's made up of little short stories.
It is, and that's why the cut line under Mississippi Hippie says a life in 49 pieces. And you can take that as, okay, well, there are obviously 49 stories in there, but also pieces of it. If your life is broken up into things.
When I read that subtitle, A Life in 49 Pieces, reminded me of Jack Nicholson's movie, 5 Easy Pieces.
Right, yes.
Which I never understood what the hell that was.
Yeah.
So was that because he was a pianist, a classical
He was
pianist.
a classical pianist, and the book that he learned from when he was a little kid
was called Five Easy
Pieces.
I never knew that.
Yeah, you're going to do row, row, row your boat or whatever, but that was it.
Well, the great thing about that movie was I was at the University of Texas when it came out. And I went and saw it, and in the summers and the winter when at home, I worked in the oil field wearing the same kind of hard hat he did.
Right.
Doing roughneck work. And I'm sitting there going, I can't believe they actually made a movie and showed people doing that, because like nobody was interested. Now you got Landman and all these shows that are about the West Texas oil field. And it's all true. Everything they're talking about in that is that you could get killed in a heartbeat.
Oh, I bet.
In fact, I told my dad when I first got out there, I was working around heavy equipment, I said, Dad, you can get killed out here. He said, yeah, son, I told you to be careful. And I went, no, but I mean, you can get killed.
That's right, yeah.
I understand, careful.
Yeah, right, careful.
This you don't have a lot of chance with.
Sure.
You start off in chronological order, which I always like, because I'm a chronological kind of guy. a lot of people start off present day and then say, how I got to here really goes back in time.
Right.
You started out back in time.
Yeah.
But it really, if you look at your life, how it led you to where you are right here today, sitting in Lansky's telling your story and Kim's, it's been headed in that direction your entire life.
It really has, and I think maybe that's the most surprising thing, and being 75 years old now, I realize. Oh,
you are older than me. I'm only 74 right now.
That's right. Yeah, I am older than you.
Okay, calm down, guys.
That's right. For one whole month.
Yeah,
there you
got
go.
a month.
Yeah, for one whole month. All right, folks. Now we know.
The old codger.
Well, I started to realize that not only was I the author of the book, but I was the author of my life. And, so many people tell me, because, I write for all kinds of people. I ghostwrite for people, I've corporate stuff, all sorts of things. And so I've learned how to write. And you know how that is. You first have to get past thinking you have to be somehow, oh, I'm so inspired I can write. No, somebody points a finger at you. Hey, you got to write. Get this done by tomorrow. You're always on deadline. But not only was I the author of those things, I was the author of my life. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of give yourself permission to do that, and when you see this as, okay, these are my decisions that I'm doing, then it really does make a difference. And I do think you get very authentic with yourself, and you give yourself permission to tell the truth. And that's what I did with this book. And I will say this, I've been invited to so many book clubs. I've probably done a lot. 25, maybe 30 book clubs. And when you walk in a place and you've got 20, 30 people sitting there, they've all bought your book, they know, they have questions, it's humbling, because they now know kind of my deepest, darkest secrets, But it's been exactly what I needed to do at 75 years old.
Well, and at this point in your life, you can really tell the story.
Yes.
As you said, you've really learned to write.
Right.
And that doesn't mean pleasing yourself or somebody else.
Exactly.
But that's the difficult thing is because I would do stuff, profile restaurants and tell their stories.
Yes.
And I knew what would be perceived as a positive thing for them in the story. And I realized sometimes they would say something and go, people may not know how quite to take that, so I'm not going to leave that in.
Right.
And then they would come back and say, how come you left this out? I said, it's just discretionary judgment. Yeah. And I said, and you have to trust me when I say that this is perfect the way we did it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of Cecil B. DeMille's out there that want to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's an expert.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And they will tell you what they think
That's
should
right.
be in there.
That is right.
Some are a little more so than others. When you go to these book signings and book clubs, and what are the main things that people end up asking you?
A lot of people have told me, they said, Willie, you didn't try to make yourself look too good.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's
pretty much who I am.
That's right.
Yeah, who we all are.
That's right. If you want to make yourself look good, write something else.
Yeah.
But a memoir, I did want to tell people, this is how I got here. And I love the fact that I've made that journey.
It is interesting too that the choices you make in your life take you in a direction that if you hadn't made the choice at that particular time, you wouldn't be here right now.
That's right.
I mean, it could have taken you in a totally different direction.
That's right. Yeah.
And you often wonder, how lucky did I get?
Oh, I think that all the time. I'm telling you, when I was shooting the documentary on Elmwood Cemetery, I was at the Library of Congress. This is 2002, so that's been 23 years ago. And they were bringing people in for me to interview. And I was interviewing people for, 20, 30 minutes each, And I was sitting there writing something. Somebody had just left, and I sensed somebody came in and sat across from me. And I said, hang on just a second, I'm thinking. And so I was writing something down, and I looked up, and guess whose eyes I was looking into?
Your future.
I'm telling you. And I went totally Barry White. I think my voice went down an octave, and I went, well, hello. And that was the first time I'd ever seen Kim. And, we were friends for years.
We were friends for a long time.
Yeah, and then...
We weren't.
That's right.
Yeah, we took it to a different level.
We got married.
That's right, yeah.
And it is also interesting that you really, when you sit down and actually have a conversation with somebody in an interview type situation, how you really see them in a different light than you do in day-to-day contact with people. Because you're actually sitting down and talking to them.
That's right.
And even though we have all this around us in this atmosphere, you really forget about all that. You're really just talking to a person across from you.
That's right.
And you really many times see them for the first time.
True.
And
yes.
of all the projects that you've done, and we talked about Horn Island?
Horn Island, yeah.
And just all the different projects you've worked on, and you and George Larimore, we had him on.
Right, yeah.
You guys just finished a documentary.
Right.
And you look at all the projects you've done, because I think about the same thing. I mean, I had people come up to me, you did a story about me 30 years ago, and I go, and I remember the story.
Sure,
and
yeah.
They will always remember the story.
Right.
But it really is how you treated that story and how you made them feel in doing it. And I think people are very appreciative when you tell a story and it's accurate, and like you said, I don't embellish anything. I say this is who they are, and this is why you could say things about other people they cannot say about themselves.
That's right. That's right, yeah.
And so it gives you permission to do things that it doesn't make them sound egotistical or being braggadocious.
Right.
And but of all the projects you've worked on, is there any one particular genre that you enjoy more than anything else?
I've done a lot of museum work. And I've done the Cotton Museum, which is right down the street here. I've done the Blues Hall of Fame. I've done the Tunica River Park. Whoops, excuse me. Sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. Mike, sorry.
No, it's okay, Willie.
So, but I've done. I did the Elvis Presley Birthplace Museum in Tupelo.
Yeah.
But to be able to tell those stories, and what I really like about that is that I know right now, right this second, on October 6th, 2025, that there are people in all of those museums, and they're watching my work. They're reading the text panels I wrote. So it's one of those things. I always get this vision of setting a little sailboat off to sail, and I don't have to be there anymore. I did the work, but it's there. And in some cases, the last 20 years, like at the Cotton Museum, people are there right now watching what I did. And I like that because it teaches all the time.
Well, you really are a teacher when you're doing that kind of thing, because you're conveying history, conveying thoughts and how things were at a certain period in this city, which is what I love about Memphis. And why I wanted to have you all on, because I think you're two great things about Memphis. And it really is the people of Memphis.
That's right. That's right.
And I've always loved this about them, is that if you moved to Memphis, and I didn't know a living, breathing soul here. Elvis had just died, and I didn't know him either.
Right, yeah.
But I got here, and what I quickly found out is people either like you because you're honest, and that is who you are.
Right.
And people in Memphis can see through a fake person quicker than any place I've ever been in my life.
Yep.
I mean, some of the people come through Memphis trying to pull a con, and they go, hey, we know who you are.
That's right. That's right.
And it doesn't matter whether you have money or no money. They either like you or they don't like you.
Right.
And if they don't like you, they just don't hang around you. They don't say bad things about you. It's kind of the old Southern thing, bless your heart. We ain't hanging around you.
Right.
But it's a very honest, and that's what I love about Memphis. That's what everybody else loves about Memphis. Right. And it's what makes Lansky's great, the Peabody great, because they are exactly the way they appear to be.
That's right.
And
I love that.
Your book, Mississippi Hippie, is available. I got a novel today.
Yes, you can get it novel. You can get it at Burke's.
You can get it at WillyBearden.com.
WillyBearden.com.
Or the trunk of Willy Bearden's car out in the parking lot.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, we do carry it around with us. Because you never know when you're going to have to sell a book.
Well, yeah, I mean, where was I? I was somewhere the other day, and they I did a talk out in Germantown on Friday, and when I walked in Germantown Methodist Church, and there were like 80 or 100 people there, and she said, "Did you bring some books?" And I said, "I have some." And so I sold a bunch of books there. So, there's been a good buzz about the books. The Memphis Flyer wrote a nice thing about it. Rita Grimsley Johnson, who was she's a syndicated columnist, wrote for the Commercial Appeal for years.
Loved her stuff.
She loved the book.
Yeah.
And, to have a blurb from her is really, really special for me.
Well, and once I asked Charles Carrault, I said, should I stay local in TV news or should I try to go to the network? He said, "Do you want a life?" And I said,
Yeah.
And he said, "Stay local."
Yeah.
He said, "You get to do what you love, being a reporter.
Yeah.
But you get to know people, you get to have friends, you get to know all the business owners in town. You're a local person."
Yeah.
And we live locally.
Right, that's right. That's right.
And to have your peers and all the people, because I have people come up to me all the time saying, "I remember you used to be somebody, right?" I always like that one.
But if I can just plug, I think that the strongest of all the formats of this book, of course, you can download it to your e-reader. You can buy the hard copy. You can buy the hardback or the paperback. He recorded the book.
I was going to say, did you do the voiceover?
I did the audio.
He did, and it's so good. And that is, I think, the strongest version
Really?
because you have such a pleasant voice to listen to. And
Thank you,
people
darling.
compliment it. You're welcome. People compliment it all the time. So if you're at all inclined to listen to a book, this is the book to listen to.
Yeah.
Well, and nobody...
Available on Audible.
But you write like you talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've always done. And people, they used to come to me at my last stop at Fox 13, and they came up with this whole list of little expressions they wanted you to use.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they laminated it.
Yeah. Oh.
And it had front and back.
Oh, you're in trouble when they hand you something laminated. Earl.
You can imagine.
You're in trouble.
You know me, so you know how that went over.
Right. Yeah.
I'm looking at that.
Yeah,
thing
you
going,
never did one of those things.
I handed it back to him. I said, "No, that's yours." I said, "No, it's not." And but it was.
funny.
I sat there and I said, "That is what you hire somebody for. Is the way they talk."
That's right.
And
Authenticity.
to say things like, "My people are digging deep to get more on this story." I said, "I never said that in my life. My people are deep. I got no people.
You are your people.
I
That's
am
right.
my people." And so I think that if I would say anything to any young writer, is just talk to people, just communicate.
Yeah.
And I tell people I interview, and I said, don't try to use a bunch of words you're not really familiar with, because just talk the way you talk.
That's right.
And
you know what? I actually learned how to do that. I used to gripe about when I was doing corporate work, so I had to write so many scripts. I wrote every script you can imagine for Fred's Dollar Store. If you ever need to open a Fred's Dollar Store, Earl, call me. I got you. I got you. But, and FedEx and International Paper and just all of these people. And I used to go, oh, gosh, I got to write one of these things, blah, 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 blah. But what it did, it taught me how to do it. The craft of it. And then after I had done that so many times on deadline, it could get from my head down to the paper like that. Yeah. No problem.
Well, it's like I've covered so many crime scenes. I walk up on a crime scene, I'd tell Beth, I said, "Get a picture of the destruction over here. I'm going to go find somebody to interview." We had this story pieced together in our heads as we got in the car to drive back to the station. Right. I said, "I'm going to do this. This is going to be the voiceover cut, this, this, and this." Yeah. And that's why I ended up doing 3 stories a day, because if you can do that quickly, they give you more work to do. And, but
it's craft. I mean, you have to have art. You have to be up here with your skills. But it is learning the craft, learning how to program yourself to do it and to meet that deadline. A lot of people can't do that.
I was going to ask you, the final question is, the hardest thing to do is to end something like a story.
Yes.
And this is your story.
Yes.
And did you defer to Kim and say, how do I end this thing? Because
I wrote, the first thing I wrote when I started writing that book was the thing, I once kept a list of everyone I knew who had died. That was the first thing I wrote in 2011, okay? The last thing I wrote, which was in December of 2024, was the last chapter in there. It's called My Memorial Day. And it bookended it perfectly. You haven't read that last
No, I
piece,
have
but
not.
when you get it, you'll get it. And it was just like, this is what it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I did cut some pieces out of
She
the
did,
book,
yeah.
and not out of meanness or spite, but because
About my old girlfriends, right?
No, actually,
I never had the other girlfriends.
Right, I was the only. He saved himself until I came
That's
on.
right.
Anyway, so
Was it difficult either?
yes, right. Thank you, Earl. No, he really needs to do a part 2 to the book, and we're
I'm
talking
actually
about
working
that
on
right
that,
now
yeah.
because there are some things that he didn't feel comfortable yet talking about in this book, like past relationships, and I think we're finally going to get into it in the next.
And the reason that is important is because we're the sum total of all of our life experiences.
That's right.
That's right.
And if you don't talk about the things that you may feel a failure at because it didn't work out the way you planned for it to work out, that still is part of what you're about.
That's right. You're not going to hide that.
I was watching the University of Texas play this weekend, and Arch Manning they had a horrible game. And he's like the lowest rated quarterback in the entire nation.
Wasn't he just a sophomore? I think he just needs time.
Well, they pointed out that he always went to this high school, which was not a 5A high school.
Right.
And he won every game, ran up all these great records. And now he's playing in the SEC.
That's right.
And these are dogs.
That's right.
And so he's learning a lot of things he's never had to experience before. Everybody has to go through tough times, and that's what makes you successful.
That's right.
Is learning to overcome the adversities of getting the crap beat out of you.
That's right.
And then surviving it. It's not the easy stuff. The easy, in fact, Schwarzkopf in his book about when he was over Desert Storm and all, he said, I didn't learn anything under great generals because everything just works.
Yeah.
I learned all the stuff I really can use today from bad generals because he said, you don't do that, and I know why.
Yeah.
The mistakes are where you learn.
That's
right. That's right.
Yeah. So I think you should go back and put some stuff in.
I am.
And
I
say,
only got up to 1980 in this book.
Yeah.
I'm not even in that book anywhere.
She's not.
I mean, I don't think
except a
except
big
for
thank you.
The thanks.
That's right.
So we clearly have at least one chapter. that we have to write.
And I got to talk about going to India and having my heart surgery,
which I think we talked about.
That's a pretty good story. Yeah.
Which I think that took a lot of guts on your part because
a lot of stupids.
No, because it worked out great.
It did work out great, but I was my back was against the wall. I'd lost my health insurance, and I was looking at bankruptcy.
Because how much does a heart bypass cost if you don't have insurance in this country?
Oh, here they told back then. This was in 2011. The cardiologist told me it would be between $350,000 and $500,000. So, I went to India. I went to Bangalore,
and by
India,
yourself,
by myself,
which is amazing.
Well, I'm not afraid of my fellow man, and I was okay traveling by myself. But I went over to Bangalore, nicest hospital I've ever been in, brand new hospital. I think it was 5 years old. Wonderful, wonderful people, and it cost me $9,000.
Wow.
So I didn't have to go. I was 60 years old at the time, and I didn't have to go bankrupt because that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be 60, and I'm going to be. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Because I was about to fall over dead.
Well, it's mine. I was on Medicare, and so they said they turned me down of doing a where they put the. Yeah, when I was on Fox 13 insurance, they said I couldn't take this, but they put the tube up in you.
The heart cath.
Heart cath.
Yeah, right.
They wouldn't approve that because I passed my stress test.
Oh my gosh!
And so Dr. Gubin, at Stearns, he said they won't approve it.
Yeah.
He said when you get on Medicare, they can't say no.
Yeah.
And so they went in and looked, and I had an aneurysm on my widowmaker. I walked around for several years with that, and we had no idea. So I think that's what you did is you did exactly the right thing by going to India.
Yeah.
And I think it dispels a lot of people. I mean, people I know that live in Mexico, they think Mexico is like 1950.
Yeah.
It's as modern.
That's right.
And so is
Absolutely.
India, and so are all these other countries.
Yep.
And but why are we paying $350,000 for a bypass?
Well, I think we fool ourselves into saying we have the best medical care in the world, and we're actually probably about 35th in the world or something.
And we're paying 10 times more.
10 times
Easily.
more than anybody does. Yeah. I mean, it's not a thing in other places. It's not a thing where you can go bankrupt because of medical bills.
Yeah.
But here, the main cause of bankruptcy for people is medical debt.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you
think
can't
about
go
that.
bankrupt from it.
That's right.
You cannot bankrupt
That's
your way out
right.
of it.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you go bankrupt and tell all your other creditors, go screw yourself.
Yeah.
You got to pay the
That's right. You got to pay that.
right.
They're going to
Yeah.
get their money.
Yeah.
That's right.
They're going to get their money.
So I would have gone to India and not come back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still my surgeon, Dr. Vivek Javali, is my Facebook friend, and he reaches out, or I reach out to him every couple of months, and we talk. He is a fine individual.
Well, everything I heard about India, Bob Ney, who's a former congressman, loves it. He goes 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And he says they're the nicest people.
Yeah.
And he takes them out to dinner, and they're just, thank you.
That's right. Yeah.
He said, it cost me $8 to take 10 people to dinner.
That's right. It's a great place, and they've done so many innovations in heart surgery, especially over there. They were the ones who innovated going through your arm to do that, and I mean just all these things.
Well,
so I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to have had the last. Well, I had the surgery in 2011, so that's 14 years. Okay, I'm not very good at math. So
it's
14
a different
years.
side of your brain.
That's right. Yeah, it's just the garage door starts closing when I start thinking about math.
Well,
but I'm here, and I've been able to do so many other projects that I wanted to get to, just because of. Okay, I was able to stay alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole story is a great story, so you need to include that in.
That'll be in book number 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got to figure out what to call that.
Don't spend 10 years writing it. so you
No,
can
I'm
come
not.
back.
I hope I can get it done in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll probably have you back on because I want to have you and George Laribour come back on and talk about your other project, your film project.
Yeah.
And Kim, before we do the Halloween thing, which is the end of this month, I'll put out the word and the details on your Halloween. That's one of the cool things to do. And you don't have to walk through a corn maze. You just go.
That's right. You will not be getting lost over there. And let me say this. I always tell people, when you're married to somebody who runs a nonprofit like that, you don't get volunteered for stuff. You get voluntold. So I'll be dressing up as Boss Crump again this year. How many years is this, honey?
Many years.
Many years.
Yeah.
Well, it's typecasting. You look like him.
I mean, I look like him. I own the straw boater and I own all the stuff.
The round
I
glasses.
don't own anything as cool as this jacket.
Well,
right.
And folks, if you're watching this, Lansky's is the place to be. Just let me tell you.
And you pay about a third of the cost of a great-looking jacket than you do at some of the bigger stores
That's
in
right.
town. It's
That's
really
right, yeah.
people think this is an expensive place, but it's really not.
Yeah.
That's
well,
right.
some of the shirts are kind of pricey, but the jackets are great. Well, thank you both for coming in. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you have. And the book is Mississippi Hippie, Hippie Dippy. And get it at your local store. You'll like it because everybody loves Willie. And so
Hey, I like
do
that.
And Kim, you're a great
That's
couple.
right.
All right, that's our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. You can also catch it up on YouTube and Spotify after today. So see you next time.